Hello and welcome to the SimplyMap video series. This is video number 2, Selecting Variables. All maps are a selection of variables displayed across a selection of locations. We have broken this video series into multiple parts in order to better focus on those different aspects of map making. In this case, we're going to look at the ways in which you can select variables for the purposes of map creation in SimplyMap. The easiest way to select variables is simply to use this Variables button on the left. You'll see that there's a Variables, Locations, and Businesses button. We're going to click the Variables one. Variables will bring up a number of things. First, it'll bring up recent, favorites, and search options. We'll talk a little bit about this search option later. But recent will allow you to use variables that you've used fairly recently, and favorites will allow you to select variables that you know you want to reuse and to place them in a category. But otherwise, this clicking variables opens up 3 boxes that allow you to browse various variables. So, the one on the left is categories. Categories are the broad overview, the different types of data. Some of these categories have folders within them that represent categories of data within the categories. And all of them have very specific variables that come up that are over in this variables box. Selecting your data using this browse method allows you to look over the types of data that are available. I want to go over the different categories to better display what kind of thing is available. First, there's census data, which is data collected by the census primarily on population statistics. There's consumer expenditure, which is mostly data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics about consumer spending. There's business counts, which is detail from the census that is organized, as you can see, by NAICS code. There's market segments, which is data from EASI on specific market variables. There's the quality of life category, which contains data on crime and weather, as well as things like earthquakes, collected from various sources, including the FBI and the National Weather Service. There's the Consumer Price Index, which is data on major prices within given geographical areas. There's retail sales, which is data from the economic census on retail sales volume within different areas. The Uniform Crime Report, which is data from the FBI on specific serious criminal offenses. There's sales potential, which is an advanced index from the EASI that's based on census data. There's historical census information, which has information from the 80 and 90 census, plus supplemental data from 2000 and 2010. There's the life stages category, which allows the EASI data from the census based on households by age. It's an advanced process. And there's the MRI Consumer Survey. The MediaMark Research Incorporated Survey of American Consumer has data on multiple specific products. In order to select data, you first click a category, and then if they're direct variables, you can select those. But in most cases, you will then select a folder, and that folder will contain specific pieces of information, specific variables that you can choose. You'll note that these do not have years attached to them. One of the things that's very powerful in SimplyMap is the ability to select different years for a specific variable without having to sort through a large amount of information. All of the pieces of information for a given variable are available under the action menu for that variable. There is the simple use this variable, which will add a variable to a map. But then there is this ability here to select variable year. You'll note that most data is available from 2008 through 2015, as well as in 2000. Some data has future projections as well. And this can be very useful if you want to compare multiple years for a given piece of data. Under the action menu is also the ability to add a data point to your favorites if it's something you know you want to come back to, and also to view the metadata. Viewing the metadata shows where a variable comes from, and it can show the useful information about how that data is calculated. The metadata is very useful to have handy and is something that SimplyMap is very trusted because it provides. All of the information provided is publication quality, and part of the reason that you can trust that is because the metadata is viewable. So, to use a variable, you simply click Use this variable, and that will add it to your map. At that point, you close the side tab in order to show the information. If you have a selected geography, it will display it that way. But if you do not, it will simply display a nationwide map. This is the numbers of Asian population displayed by counties. You can also search for variables. This can be useful in multiple ways. One of the basic ways is if you're looking for something, say, related to income, you can simply search for income and find different data points, different variables that are related to income. They'll indicate, again, the folder that they are from, which can be very useful if you're looking for a type of information and want to find other similar types of information. And it'll give you the number of variables found. Income is a pretty broad search and comes up across a number of different resources. Additionally, one other thing is that you can search by different types. You can search for folders, you can search for variable names, and you can also search for source agencies. So if you're looking for information from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, for instance, you can search by source agency and find all the data that comes up as being from the Bureau of Labor Statistics directly. This can be very useful because you don't always want to browse through all of the data in order to find what you're looking for. Once you've chosen a variable, you move on to choosing a location, but that will be covered in another video.